So if you're learning how to be a dog trainer, this is one of the things that they do sometimes, is they'll ask you to pretend to be a dog. Okay, so you can't talk. And you go into a room with another dog trainer, and they have something in their mind that they want you to do. But they're not going to tell you what it is, and you can't ask what it is. You just have to guess depending on what you get praise for. So maybe they want you to lift up your paw like this to shake hands. So if you just move your paw a little bit, they'll praise you and give you a treat. And you think, it has something to do with this. So maybe you try moving it different ways, and if you lift it up, you get a lot of praise and a treat. So you figure, well, okay, that's what they want me to do. I'm not sure why, but okay. Because your dog doesn't speak the same language that you do, but you try to learn to speak their language, and they're always trying to learn to speak your language because you have the power and the food. And so one of the ways that we're different from dogs is that when we bare our teeth, we're often smiling and saying hello. But the dogs, when they bare their teeth, they're feeling threatened. So when we smile at a dog, the dog goes, wow, that's weird. Their voice is all friendly, but they're showing us their teeth. So they have to figure that out. We teach them to shake hands because that's how we say hello. How dogs say hello is they smell each other's behinds, and we don't want to do that. And we feel close to our animals, and so we want to imagine that we can tell what emotions they're feeling. Like if a dog comes at you with ears lowered and chin down, you may think they're feeling pitiful, because that's how we express pitifulness. But they're just expressing, I'm not a threat, I'm feeling friendly. When they're excited and they want to play, we know what that looks like. They lift their paws up and they go, ah. I hesitate to do it, but no dogs were looking right then. But a lot of times, and a cat, I think cats send kisses like this by blinking their eyes. So they look at you and they go. So if your cat's just staring at you one day, you can go. And they'll feel all warm and cuddly. They might not act like it, though, because they have principles, and I don't understand what they are. But we all want the same things. We want to be fed, and we want to be comforted. We like being loved. Most of us enjoy being touched and patted. And so we understand each other in that way. We want food, we want shelter, we want a purpose, we want belonging, and we want exercise, we want fun. And some things are important to dogs that we don't understand. One of the things that's important to dogs that we sometimes forget is that they want to know who's in charge. And some dogs, and cats want to know who's in charge too, they have a whole different system. But some dogs, if there's nobody in charge, then they'll take charge. And some dogs just feel real anxious if there's nobody in charge. I had a greyhound one time, and I went to do what they call a startup weekend for a new minister in a church nearby. And all the leaders of the church gather, and they were welcoming her in and starting up their new chapter of ministry. And my greyhound was there, and she was just watching and evaluating, like they do. And she wanted to know who was in charge. So eventually, in the afternoon, she went into the middle of the circle, and she picked out this older man, and she bowed. You know how dogs do. We learned how to bow from them. And he was the one in charge. He was not the president of the congregation, and he was not the new minister, but he was one of the founders, and whatever he said went. And she knew. She'd picked that up. And it was good information for me. So this Sunday, we are doing our blessing of the animals. And we bless them because they bless us so much. Even if we don't have animals in our families. We love watching movies of them and pictures of them, and they make our hearts open up, and they make us go, oh, which is fun. And most of us have gone to sleep with the weight of a cat or dog pressing against us, and we've watched TV in the company of one of them, and seen what kind of shows they like. And most of us have been comforted when we cried by an animal. We've been able to talk to them while we cook, or yell at them when we need to vent, and they forgive us. They love us unconditionally. And they think you are the be-all and the end-all of the universe, even the cats, though they don't show it much. Sometimes they just look at you, because you are their cat TV. It's like, what's she doing now? In ancient Egypt, they worshipped dogs and cats, and they had rules about cruelty to animals in ancient Egypt. Those are the first rules about cruelty to animals that we know about. We have rules about that here in our country, and we're hoping that we can make those rules better and better. Animals are our companions, the tame animals. The wild animals are the companions of our imagination, and they teach us, but the animals that are in our families help us live longer. They amuse us endlessly. They show us love. They open our hearts. They help people live longer. They heal up people who are broken. If you can work with a dog or a cat or a bird and heal them, the healing is mutual. So even for families that don't have broken people inside, although most of our families do, animals are wonderful companions. There was a classically trained anthropologist who decided she wasn't going to study some tribe far away, people. She was going to study the tribe of dogs in her town. And so she followed dogs wherever they went and learned a lot about their lives. She wrote a book called The Social Lives of Dogs. And she and her husband had a dog, but her husband called this dog the keeper of my soul. And some of us are lucky enough now and then to have a relationship with an animal who can be the keeper of our soul. It's not all the time, but once in a while that happens. He and this dog were inseparable. She asked him one time idly, if he had to choose, would he choose her or the dog? He was quiet for a moment and he said, please don't ask me that. Animals are companions to us, even though they don't always understand how to live in a house. They chew things up, they scratch things up, they poop where they're not supposed to, or they get mad and they pee on our beds, or in our shoes, or in our suitcase when we're going somewhere. But you forgive them, mostly. I did tell one cat she was dead to me. It's impossible for me to describe to you the depth of how much she cared about that. I read a wonderful article in a yoga journal one time about how to be a good companion. And this works for your family, your friends, or your animal companions. It says how to be a good companion is this. You need to be caring and concerned about the other's happiness. As a friend, you'll want to share their concerns. Naturally, you want to make their life more pleasant. You have to know life and yourself well enough to become trustworthy, capable of keeping your agreements. To be a friend, your word must be true. A true friend, you'll hold goodwill in your hearts even if they make a mistake. And you don't indulge bad moods by having bad behavior. You have a bad mood and you still behave correctly toward your animal companions or your family. That is something to which we aspire. Most of us fail at times. I heard an amen from the back corner. Some of us were comforted and loved as children by our stuffed animals. Some people think, oh, it's just a stuffed animal, but just a stuffed animal is not the case about many animal companions. We're grateful to all of them. So, in our animal blessing, which we're about to have, we have it at Brigid, which is the springtime. It's a ancient earth-based celebration. We don't have it on St. Francis' birthday because we're a little more earth-oriented than saint-oriented in Unitarian Universalism. So we celebrate our animals in the springtime when the earth is waking back up from its dormancy. And we normally, and the way I'm choosing to do it, is that I don't ask for me to bless your animals with my hands on their head. We believe in the priesthood of all believers, so that you are all priests and priestesses. And you can all mediate the mystery in blessing to your animals. So I invite you to bless your own and one another's animals. Now you can ask God to bless your animal through you, or you can say, divine spark, bless the animal through me, or you can just say, earth, bless the animal through me, bless my beautiful animal family member through me. And the way we bless is by wishing good things. We bless one another and we bless our animal companions that way. We wish good things for them and we promise to love them the best way we can. It is one of the things they teach our children, how to be a good companion. We want our children to know how to keep their word. We want our children to know how to be kind even though they're in a bad mood. We want our children to know all of the things that the animals can tell them. We want our children's hearts opened, and animals can help us with that. So, if you will, before our pet parade, if you have an animal with you, or if you have an animal at home, or if you have a picture of an animal companion, or if you've drawn your animal companion, just put your hand on it or put your thoughts toward them and say this blessing or one of your own. Bless you for depending on me, for trusting me with your well-being, and for allowing me to depend on you. Thank you for all you give me. Thank you for your tail wagging in joy at my return home. This is one for my chickens, so I'm not thinking about dogs right now. Thank you for your delicious eggs for my breakfast. You will have a safe, warm place in my heart. And if you leave this life before I do, I will carry your memory with me. And now we will have a moment in which people can call into the air the names of those animal family members who have died, whose memory they carry with them in their hearts. And now we continue our blessing. You opened my heart. You taught me compassion and connection. You are a blessing to me. I bless you.